7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. stand by.
How about that?
To quote the late, great John Frenzy, it's just going to be fantastic. Welcome to the RP Show's Football Friday, everybody. We got a very special spate of guests for you today. Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast co-hosting with me. You're going to see him in seconds. Darren Moose DuPont is taking over the air chair in hour 2. I'll tell you why later. And Morley Scott will be joining us, the voice of the Edmonton Elks from the CFL Combine in Edmonton. Along the way, fun and frivolity. I hope you're ready for the weekend. I darn sure am. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here in the text line. Kevin the Medium is with us and ready to talk some ball today as he gets his camera straightened. What's going on, Kev?
Hey, it's good. It's Football Friday. Oh, you can't see it. Where do you can't see him? Louis here, but he's at a camera frame.
I saw him over your shoulder. Well, I saw the jersey anyways. Yeah, no, we're good to go. Well, here's the funny, let's get right down to it, okay? There will be a lot of football talk, and as I say, Morley Scott of the Elks next hour with Moose. Reason being, I got a flight to catch to New York. I'm going there for the weekend. Dun, dun, dun. I'll tell you why later. I'm excited, but nobody cares about that. This is what they care about, the big story. It's actually not football. Trust me, ballers will get to you. The Toronto Blue Jays open their season tonight at home against the Athletics, looking to build on their run to the World Series from last year. Toronto fell in extra innings of Game 7 to the Los Angeles Dodgers after capturing the AL pennant. Everybody loved our interview yesterday. I know I sure did, with Ricky Ricardo, the Yankees Spanish language broadcaster. What a voice that guy had. Kevin Gausman gets the opening day start for the Jays tonight against Luis Severino of the A's. Kev, and will you be tuning in for all or a portion of the broadcast tonight?
For all of it, 100%. As we were talking off air, I am going to try to watch as many Blue Jays games as I can this summer. Just because they really got me into it last year with the playoff run, and how can you not? I remember being in Mexico watching that Game 7 at a bar in Isla Mujeres. It was so much fun. We had a blast. So I'm really looking forward to it this year.
Well, it's funny how that works, you know, and it was funny. People are still blowing up my phone with that talk with Janice the other day about the mental health of athletes right now. And I'm like, I guess how is this news? But again, we deal with it every day. Same thing with the Blue Jays. People don't understand. Everybody's into it now. Why? Because they went to the World Series. That's what you're going to find out, Kev. There's a lot of games. When you say 162 games, that's a lot of games. I'm usually just checking the score. I'm not usually tuning in for all of them, but I will say this. It's our poll question right out of the gate for EMJ Marketing, Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau. What will constitute a good Blue Jay season? What will satisfy you? A World Series return, an AL Eastern pennant, finishing first, making the playoffs, or other, which I don't think there is another. I think those are the only three things that would make us happy. What is it for you?
Return to the series. You gotta get back there and get that revenge, if you want to call it that. Long as it's not against the Dodgers. Gosh dang it. Pick another team. Any other team in the league. Just not the Dodgers.
Sorry to say, Kev, you're the medium, but I can see some heartbreak in your face here. Sorry to tell you. Got a $600 million payroll. It's the Dodgers against everybody else, if you want to sit here right now and talk about the World Series. So, but that's the poll question. I want people to have fun with it. And I'm saying my vote is to win the AL East pennant for a variety of reasons. If you do that, you're in the playoffs, and getting to the World Series is very, very, very difficult. I'd be happy if they won the AL East. If they made the playoffs, I would be happy too. But hanging a pennant up there, the one thing that I will say about the Blue Jays is I trust the management crew. You know, I've got a lot of friends in the Toronto media that were not on board of Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, and I'm like, I kind of went along with that because they didn't really know any better. Well, they kind of shoved it where the sun don't shine last year, didn't they? Didn't they, Kev?
I think they proved themselves. I think all the naysayers can go and say nay. Because they obviously put something together special that has been working. So good on them. And I'm looking forward to it. 5 o'clock. I think it's 5 o'clock start my time.
Yeah, 7:07 Eastern. And that's the point. I mean, you've been there. You've proven you can get there. So
Yes.
I'm not doubting that you know what you're doing, but okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball, as Monty from Saskatoon writes in and says. And Jason in Red Deer says, what about winning the damn thing? Well, that's also fine. We all can't get along, we'll never get along, everybody. We also can't all agree. But I will say that's why we're putting this out here as a poll question. And by the way, we're going to get to a hell of a lot of football after the break. The other big story for me, as you know, that I'm going to be getting on the plane to New York this afternoon, but around here, the Minnesota Wild were here last night. And I had to write the guy's name down because I didn't know it. The Minnesota Wild broadcaster, Anthony LaPanta, on their TV announcer. I don't know if you saw this, Kev. A lot of people are it's being shared around here. It had 600,000 impressions, his Twitter. He took a photo of the crowd last night here in Sunrise, 5 minutes into the game, when, if you know this place, not everybody shows up on time. I don't know if that's a Vancouver thing or not where you're from, but here they don't. And he goes, nice to see these lifelong Panthers fans turning on their team as soon as they missed a playoff. And it's got everybody going crazy and going. I didn't even know the guy's name. And I'm going to just say this, because we're going to go for a break here right away. Number one, we put way, way, way too much stock in what other people say.
Yes.
We just do, right? And especially haters. I mean, he's trolling, and if he's just doing this to get hits or tweets or retweets, then I would like to think I don't know why he did it. I don't know the guy. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. But I would also say it makes the Minnesota Wild look real bad. I'm just gonna put that out there, that he would say that your television broadcaster would troll the Florida. It's one thing for the fans to say it, even a player. I don't know, the broadcaster. I don't know. What do you think about that? I'm sure it's the first you've heard of it.
Yeah, it's the first I've heard of it. And how dare a broadcaster troll another team? I mean, who does that?
Well, I trolled players. I didn't troll fans.
True.
Are you casting disparate? You didn't even know who I was until we met. So let's just get that straight right now. I mean,
but I did do research.
Pardon me?
I did do the research after the fact.
No, I was talking to Kevin. Sorry. What were you saying, Kevin?
Sorry, I did do research after the fact. And you're right. You did troll players. You didn't troll the fans. I don't know. I mean, it's all about the clicks nowadays. It's whatever you can do to get the clicks on the social media. And I don't know if I like it. It's not news anymore. It's not even sports reporting anymore.
It's terrible. Okay,
Yeah.
See what I did there? I just pulled the pin of the grenade, and we'll see where it lands when we come back, okay, on a Football Friday. Morley Scott joining us in hour 2, and Moose as well. You're watching the RP show. I'm told not on Game Plus today, but that's okay. YouTube and WQVZ.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Welcome back, everybody, on a Football Friday. As you see on the screen, Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel brings you the warm-up on the RP Show, especially Football Fridays are the official travel partner of the RP Show, but also the BC Lions, and they would like you to join them in Toronto, calling all Canadian sports fans. Join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th through the 17th this summer, staying right in the heart of the city. This unbeatable package includes round-trip flights, 3 nights accommodation, plus 2 games, Toronto versus New York, baseball at Rogers Centre, followed by Saskatchewan at Hamilton in the CFL. It's an easy and fun, stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. All his contact info is on the screen. Okay, Kev, we're back. It's a Football Friday. Any thoughts that percolated in your mind before we move on here in the quick six?
Yeah, when you were talking about returning to the World Series, which is harder, winning a Stanley Cup or winning a World Series? Both have the same format, 7 games.
Define difficult. Like mathematically, physical grind, what? Taxing on your body, I mean, what?
Put it all together. What's if you look at everything combined, the mathematics, the physical toll on your body, obviously hockey's a little more physical than baseball, but which I guess when you look at it, who repeats more, baseball champions or hockey champions?
You know what? It's a great debate.
Yes.
That I didn't expect, which it just popped into your head. But so the hockey people always say, and that was the world that I come from, that the Stanley Cup is the hardest to win in sport. I never, ever agreed with that, even though I always said it was the World Series. And that was before wild card teams and everything. If you remember way back in the day, you had to win your pennant.
Yes.
And then one extra team got in. So back in the day, the World Series was way, way, way harder to even qualify for the playoffs, let alone go ahead and win the whole thing. And now I think it's even more difficult. I'm going to say the World Series.
Yeah,
that's
you
going
know
to piss
what?
off the hockey people, but I don't care.
I was going back and forth as well, and I'm like, I'm going to say the World Series just for the reason you said. It's tough when you add in the wild card and everything else. It could be a long grind. Is it physically? If you look at total physical, you're going to have to go with the Stanley Cup for sure.
Yeah, well, what's odd about it is the actual most difficult trophy to win, period, I don't care, is the Memorial Cup. Okay, And there's
Ooh.
hockey people sitting watching going, oh, yeah, right. You got to win 4 series and then go to a tournament, okay? And imagine if you won the Stanley Cup and then you had to go to a tournament from all the best leagues around the world and play the best team, right? Like said, the Memorial Cup is the hardest, but nobody ever says that. And by the way, for those bitching in the comments that we're not talking football yet, we'll handle the topics. You sit there and watch. We'll do the talking. How about that? Having said that, we move along. I actually did move this on cue. I actually was going to move to the UFL kickoff tonight anyway. UFL, CFL, I have them both high up in my order, plus in the NFL. Moose is going to discuss this next hour when he hosts the show because I got to run to the airport. But he wants to talk about Tom Brady. Says he's considered coming out of retirement. Kevin and I won't discuss that. But let's just have a little fun with this for a sec because it is the United Football League, and I get a little annoyed. I told you this on the phone this morning. Annoyed only in this. Fox News this morning. The only time I watch the news is when I'm at the gym because they're on all the TVs. And they had Fox News was broadcasting live from the football stadium in Louisville, where tonight Louisville is home to Birmingham in the kickoff of the 2026 UFL season. And Kevin and I said that we're going to do UFL picks. And I would ask any of the viewers that are watching, because it is a football Friday, if you want to make your UFL picks, great. You're going to have to police yourselves and keep track of yourselves. I'll keep track of me and Kev's picks. I'm not keeping track of anybody else's. And at the end, we'll have lunch somewhere, Kev, at your favorite lunch spot in Maple Creek or wherever you want. But you said you were going to do a little research ahead of the game. So here's the games this weekend, week 1 of the United Football League. The games will be on Fox and ESPN in the States, and I'm guessing TSN in Canada. I don't know. Birmingham at Louisville, D.C. at St. Louis, Houston at Dallas, Columbus at Orlando. I want to know what you have to say about this, Kev.
Well, it's interesting because I did go down the rabbit hole because we were going to do our picks, and I found out there's 3 new teams this season, replacing 3 teams that dropped out, and so I'm excited to actually follow this just for the fact I don't know any players. I have no clue of the rules, except there was some weird, if you kick it from the 59-yard line, you only get 3 points. If you kick it from the 60, you get 4 points. I love it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm shocked that they're putting literally a Sunday night game with the 2 new teams. Interesting scheduling idea.
They're very innovative. Okay. And the only reason I kind of dropped off the radar of the UFL is I had a lot of friends in the league, some players, some coaches, some personnel guys, and they're not even in the league anymore. So I wasn't really paying any attention to it. But again, I got to say bravo to the United Football League, Fox, that they were broadcasting live from the stadium this morning. And trust me, I'll get to a CFL note about that here in a second. But here's your picks. Tonight, Birmingham at Louisville. I'll go first. I'm taking the Louisville Kings. Who you got?
Same, the Kings.
Okay. DC at St. Louis. I'm taking St. Louis because my dear friend Corey Chamberlain is the defensive coordinator of the Battle Hawks. Not to be confused with your old mother-in-law Battle Axe. No, the Battle Hawks. DC at St. Louis. I'll take the Battle Hawks because of Chain. How about you, Kev?
Dang it. We're picking the same teams, Rod. I'm taking the Battle Hawks as well. For no other reason, I just like the name.
Okay. Houston at Dallas. I'll let you go first. Who you taking?
I am taking the Gamblers because I'm a gambler.
Who is that? Which team's the Gambler? I don't even know.
I don't even know. I just wrote down the Gamblers.
Pick one. Houston. I guess we better figure out the team names.
The Houston Gamblers.
Okay. Kevin's taking Houston. I'm taking Dallas. I think it's the Dallas Renegades, but I'm not even sure. Listen, I don't.
Yes, it is.
People can sit and poke crap at us if they want that we don't know the names. At least we're talking about the league. And Columbus at Orlando. I'm going to take Orlando because I'm a Florida guy, and who knows, maybe I'll get up to some games. I don't know. I'm taking Orlando. Who are you taking?
I am taking Orlando too, but for different reasons. It's called the Orlando Storm. And when my son played football way back when in high school, it was actually in the community league. The team name was Storm.
Okay, I got you. Well, that's what it is. Orlando, that's what it is. So that's our picks. We differed only on the Houston, Dallas, but that means at least one of us will come out. Everybody else, make your picks, please. Ryan in upstate New York writes in. He says, "Good day, Rod Squad. Happy Football Friday to those who observe." Same to you, sir. We're certainly trying. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in. He says, "This is turning into the Gong Show of UFL predictions." Hey, we're nothing if not entertaining. That's what we
right.
strive to do here every day. And the other thing is, I don't mind saying it. This isn't being critical. It's fact. I reached out to the CFL and asked that they could put a player on from the Combine in Edmonton. I never heard back one single word. So we're going to get to some CFL stuff here. But, I mean, I tried. That's all that I can really say. So I sit and I see Fox News broadcasting live from the stadium in Louisville, Kentucky, ahead of the kickoff. And, yeah, they got the broadcast tonight of the game on Fox. I totally get it. That's just the way that it used to be. I don't know if this is a new thing now with certain leagues and not others, but I'll just say it again. I reached out to the CFL. I never even heard back. What would you do, folks, if you were me? Anything else, Kev, before I move on?
No. And I totally agree with you. You can only do so much when you're trying to help a league promote itself before you look dumb and banging your head against the wall and you're going to have a big lump on your forehead.
Hey, listen, I'm way past banging my head against the wall. I'm not even concerned. The old me would go, "What, don't they like me? I don't care." I tried. There's a little thing. And in this other career that we have, it's called meet people where they're at. I extended the olive branch. Hey, here you go. Meeting them where they're at. Which, by the way, I do want to delve into that thing before the break. Where I said the Minnesota Wild TV guy was trolling the Panthers fans, and you said, "Oh, there were viewers that wrote in here and said, Rod, you did the same thing." Let me just clarify. Unless anybody can find an example, I don't recall trashing any CFL fans in any other city ever.
No.
Because I knew if I went into Winnipeg and did it, I wouldn't get out of Winnipeg. I knew that. That's a tough town. Wouldn't do it.
You trolled the other players or the other team, and it worked really well because it put butts in the seats. It had people talking. I remember when the Riders were buying up billboards in Calgary, and I was like, "Who does that?" It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right.
So I don't know. I was texting back and forth this morning. I don't want to say who the guy was with. He's a long-time CFL guy. And he said the CFL needs passion. Because we were talking about some old-time figures like Cal Murphy that we used to get worked up. We'd take turns trying to get Cal worked up. It didn't take that much to do it. Or John Frenzy. John Frenzy. That's how the conversation started. And the guy goes, "This league needs passion." And I'm like, it does. Good luck with finding it. And
it needs character. It needs a character. It needs a Bo Levi on steroids. That's what this league needs. Someone that's going to stand in front of the camera and actually create some excitement instead of, we played crappy.
Well, I guess as Nathan Rourke, I think we would all agree Nathan Rourke is the face of the CFL right now. And you know what? He's not shy to make controversial comments.
No.
Which by the way, that is another thing. I've asked the BC Lions, who we have a great relationship with, to put Nathan Rourke on, and he said no. So I'm like, hey, he's working out. It's fine. It's totally fine. But
he doesn't like media. That was a big thing. I remember when Farhan Lalji was trying to interview him and he was given one-word answers and then left. He's not a media guy. And if you're going to be the face of a league, you better start taking some lessons on how to do your media and come on shows like the Rod Pedersen Show or hell, even the Hughes Sports Podcast. At least acknowledge us.
Yeah. Hey, also the highest paid player in the league. But I mean, I did not mean to turn this into an anti-Nathan Rourke thing. I think he's a wonderful young man. You do too, a tremendous football player. But no, there's nobody pitching or selling the league. And the thing with the Bo Levi, just so everybody knows, because that was 2017, He had been trolling Duron Carter all week when he found out that Duron, the receiver, was going to play the corner that game. And all week he was trolling him. And Duron didn't say a damn word. And he's a very close friend of mine. And then we get in the game, and he picks off Bo and returns it for the quick 6. And that came out with the call of Bo Levi, shut your mouth, because I was speaking for Duron because Duron wouldn't do it, believe it or not. And then, of course, it took a life of his own. I mean, when you and I were together in Calgary for like 2 years, it came up every day.
Well, and Bo should have thanked you for making him relevant, honestly. Come on. You were the one, Bo was the one trolling, and he got burned. Good on him.
Yeah.
You know I was not a Bo fan before he even met you. I call him 4-down Bo. He was the only one in the league wanting to go to 4 downs. It's like, go away, Bo.
Mike in Winnipeg from Ice Time Sports writes in, he says, loved when Winnipeg radio used to fire up Don Matthews. It was awesome. I am here for those types of stories. If anybody wants to get to them after the break on a Football Friday, that's what we're doing here today. With all the other stuff going on, I'm totally down with talking about this. Moose will be with us in hour 2. I am unable to host this show in hour 2. I'm racing to the airport. Morley Scott will be with us from Edmonton. We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edge-of-your-seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Pedersen Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Oh, they're all fired up, Kev. They're all fired up. Kevin the Medium. I'll tell you in a second. But I will tell you right now, the WHL playoffs open tonight. All 8 series are getting underway. Enjoy it. Go to rodpeterson.com for the 10 WHL playoff things written by Glenn Erickson. It's presented by the Mad Greek Eatery and Moose Jaw. Huge Warrior fans there for legendary ribs, delicious pizza, and late night bites. It's the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Okay, Kev. You wrote in and you said about Bo Levi not being relevant. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in, he says, relevant. Bo was plenty relevant before and after that. Jason and Red Deer writes in, he says, did Kevin just insinuate that Bo Levi wasn't relevant? He was the best in the business for a few years and had the best start to a career ever. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in, he goes, love it when Rod picks up the shovel and stokes the fire. Here's the thing. I don't do it that much anymore. And I pick my spots because the difference is now I'll end you. I make a living dealing with crack heads and meth addicts in interventions, man. I could handle Luke Wilson blindfolded. I'm not worried about this petty little stuff. So anyways, Kev, thoughts on all of this?
I love it. And as I said it, in my back of my head, I went, oh, poor Jeffy is going to lose it in the chat. And sure enough, poke, it worked.
Sure. Well, and while we're sitting here being real, I got some more great messages have come in on the Western Dodge text line, but there are some fans writing in with Combine results from Edmonton. Listen, I don't care. And that's not a CFL thing. I don't care about the NFL Combine. I don't care about the CFL Combine. I don't care about pro days. I don't care. If you came here wanted to talk about who's got the best shot put today, you came to the wrong place. So got to put that out there. Kev brought up earlier, what's the toughest trophy to win? What'd you say, the Stanley Cup or the World Series? Did you throw any other championships in there? Yeah. Wayne in BC writes it. He goes, I totally agree with you that the World Series is the toughest trophy to win. That's the one. I think it comes with age, Kev. You're a little older than me, but not much. When you've been around, you can end debates real fast. Like it's the World Series. Here's the data. Boom. It kind of makes it not fun for debating. You know what I mean?
It was easier when we didn't have all the info at our fingertips. Because then you could actually debate. I think Google and AI has ruined the art of the debate.
There is a lot of fun has been taken out of sports, and we're trying to bring it back here every day, which, by the way, there were some messages here in the phone when I turned it on today, the Western Dodge text line, because it's not my normal phone. Yesterday, we were having fun with what would be some fun expansion team names for the Las Vegas NBA team. Bruce writes in from Regina. His name's Bruce Kane. And he says, hello, Rod and crew. This is Bruce. I record your show and watch it in the evening. Great show. How about the Las Vegas Poker Faces? LOL. And yeah, well, you being the big BC Lions fan that you are, Jim Young, Dirty 30, as you know, watches this show every day. He's in Armstrong, BC. He writes it and he says, okay, Rod, Jim says the Las Vegas Gamblers. That gets the conversation carried over into the next day. People love that so much, you know.
Did you just say, and I had no idea of this. I've been watching your show for, what is it now, 4 years since we met. Did you just say Jim Young watches your show every day?
Yes. I thought you knew that.
Jim Young, if you're actually watching right now, please reach out. I would love to have you on my podcast, the Hughes Sports Podcast. We concentrate on the BC Lions. You are still, besides Louis, my favorite player in all time. Dirty 30.
Slight problem with that. I believe he watches on television, and we're not on Game Plus today. So, but I think I have the number in the phone, so I'll forward it to you. So when we're on Game Plus every day, Dirty 30's watching. Yes. There's some great comments coming in here. And I'll push him to when Kev departs, okay, because it's just me and him after the break. What else did I have here? I had some stuff here for you. From the CFL, the excitement for Touchdown Kelowna, presented by Okanagan College, continues to heat up. With the historic 2-game celebration drawing closer, the BC Lions and City of Kelowna unveiled an all-star roster of official partners and festival events this morning at Stewart Park. I think this was yesterday. I'm reading them. Sorry, I cut and pasted it. The committee also announced the primary locations for the week-long festival and shared what fans traveling from all over the country will have an opportunity to experience for this highly anticipated celebration of our game. Are you getting excited, Kev?
You know what? I had a few friends reach out to me and say, I'm like, well, you're going to be here, aren't you? And I'm so disappointed that I'm just not going to be able to make it. With going to Japan, it's just not going to work. But I'm excited to see what Kelowna pulls off here. I think this is going to be something special that people are going to look back and go, we need to do that again on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. I love what the BC Lions have done with this. To be honest, if I wasn't the rider guy and ordained alum with the Rough Riders, like the BC Lions would probably be my number 2 team. I really like the Argos too, but I love what they're doing now with Amar. They're filling the stadium. They got the concerts. You said they're going to be the team to beat. I think it's hard to say for anybody. Like I didn't talk to you since I was at the rider camp here on Sunday talking to their coaches. They're very optimistic, with regard, it's one thing to sit and talk to the fans. It's another to talk to the media. And then it's another to talk to the coaches. Okay. Because they know what's going on. And their whole thing was they're like, yeah, we lost some guys, but we kept who we wanted. And that's never changed in sport. Despite the 1-year contracts and all the rest, you're going to lose guys. The team, every team, they have their priority guys.
When you're finishing on top, you're going to be there are going to be people paying attention to what you're doing and who you're doing it with. And if you look at any Grey Cup champion team, they've lost players after that. It's just a fact because football players' careers are very, very short. They got to go where the money is. It's not about loyalty whatsoever anymore. Who's going to pay me the most?
And sitting there talking with these coaches is a wee slipped out. A wee with regards to the Rough Riders, because this guy was kind of lamenting the fans, how they're upset if they lost this guy and that guy, because the fans fall in love with the Tommy Neals and the AJ Allens and these guys. And I said, yeah, but you don't understand. I said, we haven't won enough to realize what happens when I'm like, oh, dang, it's not we. But the point is we haven't. As a province of Saskatchewan, we don't know what happens when you get raided after you win because we haven't done it enough.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's what they're dealing with right now. So he's like, oh, I'm getting it. He goes, I'm getting it. I think we're going to be breaking here soon. Kev, what's going on for the weekend for you, my friend?
Getting ready to head back up to Calgary. Heading up on, I think, either Sunday or Monday, probably Monday morning. Picking up my love at the airport Monday, and then we're going to hang out for 3 days. I never told you this, but we're going to the women's hockey event up in Calgary, Toronto versus Ottawa, the PWHL. Then she just messaged me and saying she wanted to go to their practice and see if we can get some autographs. I might even try to see if I can get an interview with one of them. Should be cool.
Yeah, well, let me know how that goes. I was with a business lady here in South Florida last weekend, and she's like, do you cover women's sports? I said, we talk about whatever's relevant, whatever's hot. And it kind of depends where you are, what country you're in, what market you're in. In some cases, they are. And clearly you're doing that in Calgary. So, okay, Kev. What, Corey? Okay. All right. 902-518-3033, because it's going to be viewer takeover the rest of the way until the top of the hour and a sports update. So Kevin the Medium, unless they cut us off, tell everybody about Kevin the Medium real quick.
Hey, Kevin the Medium. I want people to tune in on Monday and watch our little show we do, a little show with Angela and me. And you kind of get a taste for what we do. I think a lot of people out there might be shocked at what they see. And If you're tuning in, mention, we see the chats. Mention in the chat that you're tuning in from the RP show, just to let me know. I think it would be cool for to bring in some people from the sports community into that spiritual community. I think it would be cool.
Hey, we've been promoting it on this show, and all of a sudden your appointments have been filling up. Funny how that works. Thanks, Kev. Have a good weekend.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'll tell you again, text line 902-518-3033, brought to you by our friends at Western Dodge. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. So nice for Kevin, the medium, to drop in like he does every Thursday and Friday. It's just you and me to the top of the hour, and then Moose is going to slide into the air chair, as we call it, in hour two, and have some. You can talk some football with Moose, see what's popping with him. And Morley Scott will be joining him from the CFL Combine. Why am I dipping? Because I'm flying to New York this afternoon. The Florida Panthers are visiting the Islanders on Saturday and the Rangers on Sunday, and I looked at the schedule and I thought, this is a little trip that was right down my alley. And I'm going to be looking up Joe Lazito and friends in New York. I can't wait. And if you've been following any of the news, there's a little bit of issues with travel in the U.S. right now. So I got to get to the airport pronto. Okay. It is a football Friday. We talked about the UFL. And it's funny because where the hell is it? Kirk from Toronto writes in. Guess he's watching on YouTube because I don't think we're on Game Plus today. He says, in regards to the UFL, you do you. The CFL season is just around the corner. That, by the way, is the interesting thing. I mean, the lady that I met from Ottawa, you can tell me if you want me to use your name or don't want me to use your name. You let me know. But when she said, what do you talk about? Well, and then she's been watching the show and she goes, I kind of like your show. It's everything. It is everything to a point. Okay. We're not going to sit here and spend 2 hours on the UFL or the NFL or the CFL or the PWH. We just can't. And I'm sorry, with golf, I really can't. Tony from the Bridge City writes in, no, this is a beauty. The golf caught me on that because he is a huge golf guy. He's asked us to talk about golf. Why? I don't like it. I'm not good at it. It would just be a waste of all of our time. Tony from the Bridge City writes in, regarding the Bo Levi shut your mouth call, which has reached infamy. He says, good morning, Rod Squad. That Bo Levi call you had was a where were you when moment. I was on the bus heading home from work. When I heard that call, I thought, Rod nailed that sumbitch. Have a great one, gang. Signed, Tony from Saskatoon. That was not the intention. It's certainly not what I want to be remembered for. But you also can't necessarily pick your legacy either. It's funny. What were we saying earlier? Kev said it, not me. He's like, the league needs characters. Bo's that. David, number 2 from Winnipeg, writes in and he says, Bo Levi gets his panties in a knot far too easily. It was fun. The one thing I need to remind everybody is that it is over. My portion of that. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in and says, the road to the Memorial Cup is a grind for sure, but an argument can be made. The Royal Bank Cup is just as tough and expensive. Yes, that's the one thing the fans don't realize. Even in the pro levels, let alone junior, lower. Jim Hobson always said, worst possible thing you can do is finish third and go to the Grey Cup. Because you're not playing at home. You're going on the road, and all these expenses add up. Go on the road and lose the Grey Cup, which we did a couple of times in his regime. Thank God we won a couple as well. Jason in Red Deer says, I'm curious how much feedback you got from that call, Rod. What was the buzz? What do you think? I said earlier with Kevin, when I was in Calgary with him for a really large part of 2 years, it came up every single day. People were in Calgary. People were making T-shirts in Saskatchewan. I still have one. I have a photo of Deron Carter holding it saying, Bo Levi, shut you. What do you mean feedback? Pretty memorable call. John says, Football Friday. Yes, and for those that have just showed up, like John you're good, John. The main thing is you're here. Moose is taking over an hour too because I am beetling to New York. Hadn't been there in a while. I'm looking forward to it. A couple of games this weekend, which, by the way, I'll just throw this out there. I do love the CFL, and that's what's special about these Fridays in the winter, is that the CFL is pretty pure. It's pretty honest. It's fun to talk about. I just don't work in it every day. So here, I'm not in the trenches front line like I was, but I still like talking about it. I still like watching the games. It's just interesting with fan base because I'm obviously on to the next chapter of my life. And it's here, my buddy Jan in the gym this morning, huge Miami Hurricanes fan, season ticket holder. And he goes, what are you watching this weekend? March Madness? And I'm like, no, I'm actually going to New York to watch the Panthers play the Islanders and the Rangers. Why would you do that? The Panthers are done. Because I don't turn my back on teams when they're not winning. But that's this market. If you're not winning, we're out. Unless you're the Dolphins. And they fill the park every game. Eric in Vancouver writes in, he says, regarding not enough CFL characters, Davis Alexander seems to have character. Yes, and that'll be very interesting to follow. And if you looked at the latest betting odds, it kind of depends on the company. And that's what's fun about the different betting companies. Bet99, DraftKings, if you will, FanDuel. They all have different Super Bowl futures, Stanley Cup futures, Grey Cup futures. I can't remember who said what. Some have Montreal, some have Saskatchewan to win. And you mentioned Davis Alexander. He is all that. I'm very excited to see what he does with the Alouettes this year. Utah Darren writes that he says, the thing with characters is they have to have talent. Charles Barkley, Dennis Rodman, etc. Or they just end up being clowns. Well, there is that. I'm loving the discussion, by the way, with you people today here on this Football Friday. Every league, it's not just a CFL thing. Every league frowns on the outlandish characters anymore. And you just said it yourself. Like if you're going to be that big personality, you better be scoring touchdowns. You better be putting the puck in the net because the leagues just don't have the tolerance for it anymore. Hey, Allie writes in from Sherwood Park, Alberta. She says, happy Football Friday. You and Kevin the Medium made my day. Or she said, you made my Kev and I laugh, which is appreciated when the world is sideways. Entertaining show as always. Safe travels, RP. Well, I'm glad that you laughed. I mean, I'm just sitting here looking at this Minnesota Wild TV guy. Like, why would you go out of your way to dump on the Florida Panthers fans like you did last night? That's the talk all around here. I don't know, man. I don't think I'll ever figure this out. I'll be in an urn or on the bottom of the ocean or dead somewhere and never have figured out is bad publicity better than no publicity? I don't know. I mean, you can very clearly see who's out there doing with the hot takes just for clicks. Like mine, I really mean them. I really mean them. If I say it, I mean it. I don't care whether it goes viral or not. That's what I'm not getting with this Minnesota Wild guy. Why would you do that? You won the game. You're going to the playoffs. The Panthers are not. Why would you shit on the Florida Panthers fans? It's got everybody upset here. And from my cats and bolts social media feeds, that Panthers show that we do, I've just said to people, we put way too much stock into what other people say, especially haters, because this guy's clearly hating. But having said that, that makes him look bad. It makes the Minnesota Wild look bad, plus this guy. And I wonder, I don't know, when I was running my mouth back in the day, did it make the Riders look bad? I don't know. My bosses, they never had a problem with it. Not when you look at the bank account and the ratings. We were talking about the UFL. If anybody wants to rewind it, yes, they kick off this weekend. I know not everybody. Like Wayne NBC writes in, he says, I'm going to watch the UFL game tonight on Fox. Why the hell not? There's only a couple of NHL games, which reminds me, I haven't made my picks, and I didn't add up last night's. I will. I feel like I was around 50-50. Detroit at Buffalo, let's take the Sabres. Chicago with the Rangers, let's take Chicago. Settled that. Anyways, why all the hate out there? I don't know. It's a generally upset, angry people that are taking it out on others. That's where it comes from, right? It's sad. I don't want to be one of those guys. Regarding, we can't talk about everything. God knows. I have enough to deal with. with this show, NHL, CFL, NFL. We focus on that. Blue Jays when they're winning. I can't do golf. Don't ask me to talk golf. Tony from the Ridge City writes in, he says, if I want to talk golf, I'll turn on the Golf Channel for that. No problem. You do a great job here, and I appreciate you and all you do. Safe travels, my friend. Thank you, Tony. And with that, I'm on my way to the airport to LaGuardia, and I haven't been in New York in a while, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for the well wishes. And follow my social media feeds and the RP Show at The Rod Pedersen Show on Instagram and Twitter. And we'll be at UBS Center in New York on Saturday, Madison Square Garden on Sunday. And I thank the teams, frankly, for rolling out the red carpet. It's much appreciated, and I'm very grateful for that. There is a happy ending. That's just mine, though. Moose is coming up next, and he's got Morley Scott from the CFL Combine. We'll see what Morley has to say, the voice of the Elks. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I will see you Monday here on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that? All right, welcome to the Rod Pedersen Show, and the voice you're hearing and the face you're seeing is not Rod Pedersen. He is gone out of the chair, and we've moved in to our second home, and we welcome you in for hour 2 of the show. Darren DuPont with you here, and welcome to the program. Rod is on his way to New York. Excited for that. He was telling me, we were on the phone this morning talking all about his trip to New York, and he's excited. Lots of things happening in the Big Apple, and the welcome wagon is waiting there. The Rangers, the Islanders, the Panthers, going to be a fun weekend for Rod. So follow it on the socials. But one more hour as we welcome you to opening day. I know it's a Football Friday on the show. I was watching a little bit last hour with Rod and Kevin the Medium, but it is opening day for the Toronto Blue Jays. So we say hello and let's catch up a little bit. I'm opening up some of the comments here. Jeff writes in, he says, like the hoodie. Yes. And Ryan McCarthy says, it's a moose sighting. Great to see you. Hey, good. It's great to see all of you. Let's have some fun today. It is opening day for the Toronto Blue Jays. I am contemplating right now, maybe we'll make a group decision, if I'm going to go to the game tonight. I'm looking out my window of my home office, my home studio here, and I can see the CN Tower, which right next to it is the Rogers Center where the Jays will play, and looking forward to that. So thinking about going to the game tonight. Also have some concert tickets, so may do that instead. Downtown Toronto, a great Canadian band, the Sheepdogs, are going to play, who I'm a fan of. So we got some options as we roll through tonight. How's everybody's Friday doing? Jeffrey Townsend says, nice to see you, Darren. Love the kangaroo jacket. Yeah, the bunny hug. The Jays, they're playing the Oakland Athletics today. And this is great because this hour of the program is also carried on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network in Las Vegas, where the Jays are playing, for now, the Oakland Athletics. In a couple of more years, it will be the Vegas Athletics or the Las Vegas A's or whatever they're going to be named right now in that transition from Oakland to Las Vegas. The A's, I think in 2028 is the planned move to Vegas, which is really exciting. I mean, the transition playing in Sacramento is, awkward to say the least, but it's the Jays and A's tonight, which is really fitting for our Canadian U.S. audience, especially our Canadian audience and our Vegas audience in the U.S. markets, which makes this really great. Kevin Gausman will take the mound. The 35-year-old ace for the Jays will pitch. Last year, he was 10-11 with a 3.59 ERA last year. Luis Severino, the 32-year-old Dominican product, he gets the nod for the A's. He was representing the Dominican at the World Baseball Classic, a decade long in the majors. Luis Severino, he'll take the mound for the A's. So looking forward to that one tonight. Especially, the A's were better last year, 76 and 86 on the year, slight improvement. Obviously not a playoff team, but the Jays, as we know, the heartbreaker in the 11th inning, Game 7, World Series. They were a couple outs away from winning that game in the 9th. We still think about it, but we're excited for a new game. But here's what I want to do because we're thinking about going to the game tonight. I'm pretty sure the game is sold out, or if not, it's close to sold out. So we're looking at the markets. I'm opening up Ticketmaster. And we'll look at the secondary markets because I haven't purchased tickets yet. Right now, because of the Jays' success, we're looking at it's sitting in the 500 level, like up in the upper deck, the upper deck. There's a few decks at Rogers Center. And we're looking at over $100 per ticket to sit up in the upper deck. So I know that's kind of wild. We'll see if this loads. We'll check out what the ticket prices are now. But I checked yesterday. I was looking at tickets and maybe going. And it was $106, I believe, per ticket, which was crazy. So here we go. Let's check out the Toronto Blue Jays. And we're going to see how much tickets are. It was $106 per ticket yesterday. So, I mean, we're looking at a $300 night. 2 of us to go to the game. You can have a couple of hot dogs. Maybe I'm going to have a beer. We're going to take the train down there, and we're not going to drive. That's a few bucks. It all adds up, and it's going to be about a $300 night. And, I mean, you look at last year, in the last couple of years, the last couple summers, we've been in the GTA in Toronto. I mean, you can sit in the upper deck for $25. And I know it's the season opener, it's opening day, so it's a little more, I don't know, it's a bigger deal. These tickets are always a little more money, but I don't know, from $25 a ticket to $100 a ticket in the upper deck. So right now, general admission, they have some general admission seats available, $112 per ticket. That's general admission. You don't have a seat. It's like rush seating, or there's lots of rail seating, which is really great. Up in the 500 level, 539, $132. That includes your fees and stuff, but $132, which is crazy. This is all the 500 levels. I'm going to try and see how far down do I got to go to get to the 100 level. I mean, we're going to be looking at least 250, probably. 2 for sure. 252 for section 112. So we're going to have to decide if we're going to go to the game or not. But the Jays and A's are happening tonight, and it's Gosman against Severino on the mound. Was watching a little bit of opening day yesterday, and of course had to tune into the first game of the day was the Mets and Phillies, or not Phillies, sorry, Mets and Pirates. And it really got me thinking that I kind of forgot that Bo Bichette's on the Mets. Took me a second, and I watched his first at bat, and he had a nice deep pop out to right field, and it scored a run from third, so an RBI in his first at bat. But Bo Bichette finished 0 for 4, that 1 RBI and 3 strikeouts in his Mets debut. 11-7 was the win over Pittsburgh. The Mets looked pretty good, but Bo Bichette, an okay debut. He had the RBI, but went 0 for 4, struck out 3 times. And the big surprise there was Paul Skeens, 37 pitches in the first inning, and he got the yank. They were talking about his Cy Young winning year last year, the 1.97 ERA that he had. And baseball is so crazy. 1 start for the ace. I think it was 5 runs on 37 pitches in the first inning. Now, there was 2 errors in the center field. It wasn't necessarily that bad of an outing for Paul Skeens. But they said, what does he have to do to get back to that 197, to get his ERA down? He'd have to pitch 22 straight scoreless innings to get his ERA back down to 1.97. And basically, if he pitched his whole Cy Young winning year the rest of the way, he would never touch a sub-2 ERA. So 1 game in, he already can't play. I already can't match the numbers that he did last year. Look, comments are open on YouTube. We'll get to the poll question here right away, because I know some of you are asking if I think the Jays can make the World Series this year. Jason in Red Deer says, Dupes, there will be 82 Jays games this year? The Sheepdogs will only be there once. True. Good point. And I love the Sheepdogs. But there's only 1 season opener. And opening day in baseball is sacrilegious. It's special. You get hot dogs. I remember, and some of you who have been around a long time with this show from the beginning, you remember being back in the bunker, and when we were together, opening day, we would get hot dogs. I remember we ordered in hot dogs from the fancy hot dog place in Regina, and we did the show, and we had the gate. We had the 2 monitors up in the bunker, which was really cool. And that was part of the vision, right? Was we need a program monitor. We call it a program monitor in the business, where you see what you're seeing, the feed, the live feed. And then we had a monitor with all the comments. But we flipped the TV to the baseball game. So we had the program or the comments, and we had the baseball game, and we could watch. And when the show was over, we had Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats deliver hot dogs and the whole deal. Might have had cracked a cold beer from the fridge. Rod was loading up on Diet Cokes, which we had. Remember, we had that loaded in the fridge. It was just rows of Diet Coke, because Rod just goes through Diet Coke like crazy. And I'm pretty sure it's Diet Coke, not Diet Pepsi, but I want to think that I'm right on that. Anyways, we'd go through it, and we would get the hot dogs. We'd watch the games. The season opener is special. 82 home games, 162 games, 81 home games, 162 games. They tend to not matter all that much, but the season opener is special. So something to think about. Might go to the game, might go to the concert. Kind of there on both. Do I think the Winnipeg Jets will make the wild card this year? That's on my list. The Winnipeg Jets We'll talk about them coming up. Are they televising the Jays opener down south? I would imagine for sure in the Oakland area. I don't know about Vegas. I haven't checked the local Vegas listings because the team's coming to Vegas. And you tell me, if you're watching this show in Vegas, right into the program, are they showing the A's games? Because they're moving. They're coming to Vegas. Somebody suggested the Vegas Gamblers as a name. They're coming to Vegas. But are we into it in Vegas yet? I wonder, because they're not there yet. And they haven't changed the name. They're still the Oakland Athletics, the Oakland A's. I'm not sure. I'd like to think that Vegas is attaching themselves to the team, that there's marketing around there already, excitement building, but I don't know if that's the case. I've been to Vegas recently. I was there for a flag football event in December, and it was great. I don't remember seeing anything about the Oakland A's anywhere. I don't. Interesting. That being said, I think it's MGM Resorts putting out a new Vegas tourism package, $300 all in at the, I believe it's at the Luxor or the Excalibur, the two places you can stay. $300, you get your room, you get 3 meals, you get a beer at those meals, you get 1 ticket to a show during your stay, and I think you might get a little cash voucher for spending money in the casino. I'm not sure, but that's a minimum 2-night stay. How cool is that? As Shane Mellinson with the 111, it is 111 or 1111, as you point out, in Saskatchewan and the Mountain Time Zone. We don't have the sound effect, but pay attention to what you're thinking about if that's on your mind. So curious. So Vegas is booming a little bit. Might be making some trips back to Vegas. They're going to have baseball, hockey. There's talk of basketball. Vegas is feels like on the rise again. It's been a minute since they have been, but interesting. Hey, look, it is still a football Friday. There's lots going on right now across the landscape in terms of football. Lots going on in terms of sports this weekend. March Madness from the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8 as they move along. Was watching a little bit of that last night. The dramatic win for Purdue over Texas in the final second. That was really fun. Arizona continues to be Arizona and be really well. I think I'm going to be in Arizona coming up a little bit later on in April. There's talk about that right now. I can tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later. But the CFL Combine is going on right now, and we're going to be joined by Morley Scott, the voice of the Edmonton Elks. That's coming up in the next segment. Morley, I don't know if he's going to be at the Combine or not. And Corey, if he's logged in or when he logs in, you let me know if he's there. I'm curious if he's at the Combine, checking it out. It's day 1 of the CFL Combine. The Edmonton Elks have the 3rd overall pick in the draft. And if you're watching, whether you're reading on CFL.ca or you're reading on 3 Down Nation, there's some talk about Edmonton needing to still take a look at their offensive line. And there's a couple of linemen available in the draft. We'll talk about that with Morley in the next segment. Logan Taylor of Boston College and Albert Reese the 4th out of Mississippi State. A couple of offensive linemen that are projected or on the Bureau's rankings. They're in the top 3. So it could be a target for Edmonton with that 3rd overall pick, anchor the offensive line. Curious about that. We'll see where the Elks are heading into the year with Cody Fajardo at the helm. That's going to be interesting. And now they've added Austin Mack, and they've added some weapons for him. Curious to see what the mood is in Edmonton and catch up with Morley Scott. We'll also talk to him about the Oilers and Golden Knights last night, a 4-3 overtime win for the Oilers over the Vegas Golden Knights. And how great is this working out today with Canada and the U.S., that we are in, your living room across the countries, and especially in Vegas. You have Oilers Golden Knights, you got Jays A's. There's a lot of ties between Canada and Vegas, which makes this hour of the program really great. Connor McDavid was good again, goal and 2 assists for the Oilers, who remain 5 points up, or 5 points back of Anaheim for first, but 5 points up on a playoff spot. And we'll talk about those Winnipeg Jets too, who are 5 points back of Nashville, but have 1 game in hand. Can they make a run? 9 games left in the regular season in the NHL. So that's all coming up. Poll question before we go to break. is what will constitute a successful Blue Jays season? A World Series return, win the AL East, make the playoffs, or other? I voted for make the playoffs. I don't know if we're going to consider that a success, but what we are going to consider is that's a must for the momentum to continue. You must make the playoffs. A success would be the World Series. I think a success is in the middle. Success is getting to the playoffs and going on a run. You have to keep this market and this country excited that you're moving in the right direction. So the Jays have to stay competitive all year. I voted for make the playoffs, but what say you? World Series return leading with 55% of the vote. Okay, Morley Scott coming up next. You're watching the Rod Pedersen Show across the Game Plus Network, YouTube, and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Hey, welcome back to the RP Show as we say hello on a football Friday. We're talking Blue Jays on opening day. We'll talk a little football, but we're going to welcome in Morley Scott, the voice of the Edmonton Elks. Morley, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us today.
I'm good, Darren. Anytime. Glad to be here.
I see the Expos jersey in the back. Are you Where are you on the Jays? If you were an Expos guy growing up, where are you stand on the Blue Jays?
I'll tell you what, the Blue Jays kind of won me over the last few years. Vladdy was a big part of that, but I always hated the Blue Jays because when the Blue Jays came around, they took the Expos off TV, especially in Western Canada, right? And I'm a diehard Expos fan, and I had to watch games in French for a lot of times, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just didn't understand it. So,
I get it.
yeah, it's I didn't like the Blue Jays for that reason, but I've come around a little bit, and of course, cheering for them last year and enjoyed that run to the World Series. So, looking forward to tonight and opening night tonight.
Yeah, opening night will be fun. So I'll ask you our poll question today is what's going to constitute a successful Jays season? A World Series return, win the AL East, make the playoffs, or something else?
Make the playoffs. I think you just got to keep people interested into the postseason and then just go where it takes you at that point, right? Missing the playoffs, I think, and especially if they're out of it early, be a huge disappointment for people in Toronto, for the Blue Jays, and everybody right across Canada, because everybody's just expecting them to take the next step this year, right? Which it's not easy to do. Going to the World Series 2 years in a row is a pretty difficult thing. So we'll see what they can do. But making the playoffs, I think, will be enough to constitute a good year, getting some home playoff games and getting people excited come October.
Hey, I agree, and that's what I voted for too. You got to stay in the mix, right? You got to stay competitive, stay in the mix. So, lastly, on baseball with the Expos, did you follow them to Washington? And so when Washington, Rod brought this up, a few years ago when Washington won, did you feel like the Expos won?
No. I bought I ended up getting, I saw an Instagram ad or something for Montreal Expos. What year was that? 2000 and whatever it was. I saw it was Montreal Expos World Champions, and it had, the year, and it had the Expos logo, and then in brackets it just said Washington Nationals, right? I bought one of those. So it was tough. It was tough. I didn't really become a Nationals fan just because they were the enemy to me, right? Because they stole my team. So, and mind you, they didn't really steal it. They were just kind of handed it to it. After watching the Netflix documentary, you just know there's no possible way it was going to stay in Montreal because there's just so much wrong with what was going on there. So, yeah, I'm not a Nationals fan at all.
No. And I didn't grow up with the Expos. I think they were around very early in my childhood watching baseball. It was all Jays, but I couldn't understand, how you'd have that affiliation with the team once they move. Once they're out of your city, they're not even a Canadian team anymore. It'd be pretty tough.
Nobody in Phoenix and nobody in Winnipeg cheered for the Arizona Coyotes, right?
Exactly. Same thing. And they kept all the history and all of that. Look, Football Friday, and you're the voice of the Edmonton Elks. We'll get to the Combine. That's happening. I'm not sure if you're planning on heading down, checking some of that out throughout the weekend. But I wanted to ask you first about Chris Morris. I spent a lot of time and do the games in the Canada West. Got to know Chris a lot with the Alberta Golden Bears and became close with Chris. How's Chris doing as the president and CEO of the Edmonton Elks?
He's doing terrific. He's been his name came out of nowhere. There were no rumors, and if there were rumors, it wasn't involving his name.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Chris Morris is named president. Everyone goes, "Wow, that's weird." And then you go, that's a good choice, right? Nobody knows the town. Nobody knows the team. Nobody knows the temperature of everything around this franchise or cares like Chris Morris does. And he came in and he's done some hard things and he's trying to turn things around, working hard with his crew to repair the relationship between the franchise and the fan base. And I think he's done a terrific job at that. And I think the best thing that he's done is just given stability. The first day when he talked about the revolving door is not going to be here anymore. This past off season, for example, was the first off season probably in 4 or 5 years that we wondered, I wonder if the coach and GM will be back next year. I wonder if the president will be back next year. This year, there's no doubt because that they've got the right guys in the right place and the consistency's there. And Chris Morris has preached that right from day one since he arrived here. And he's done a lot of things correctly. So he needs some help on the field, though, right? You can market all you want. You can give away and you can reduce prices. You can do whatever you want, and community events and all that stuff. But the team's not winning. It's hard to get people excited, especially how this team has performed in the last 4 or 5 years. So if they get some wins, especially early, they'll. I think the fan base will come back, and we'll see. But Chris Morris, in my opinion, so far has done a great job.
We started seeing the fan base come back last year, and that was great, seeing more butts in the seats. So the Combine, that's exciting. What's the buzz around Edmonton when it comes to the CFL Combine?
It's been so cool to have CFL talk all week long in the city. I mean, this is like one of the biggest weeks of the off season. It's unfortunate that the weather is unseasonably cool, and we've had a lot of snow, which I think Mark Killam had the great line, and he said we're continuing with the thought that everybody thinks it snows all season or all year here in Edmonton because we got some snow and it's been pretty chilly. But it's been cool. You know, I was down at the Westin Hotel on Wednesday, and it's just cool to walk in and you just see. I walk in and there's Dave Dickinson talking to somebody. I look over, there's the escalator, and coming up the escalator, it's Pinball and Mike O'Shea, and just everywhere you turned, you saw football, people from the Canadian Football League. So it was pretty cool to have the discussions going. Oilers are on the road, so CFL's kind of taking the spotlight in the city right now, and it's been great. They had the Coach of the Year dinner, which was a huge success for the first one that they've had, kind of bringing it back. That was on Wednesday night in a full house at the Westin Hotel, and now they're going into the Combine. They're doing the individual drills this morning, the 40 and the bench press and all that stuff, and then interviews with teams are this afternoon. And then the stuff that I'm going to try and get over and see a little bit of it at Foot Field over the next couple of days, tomorrow and Sunday, the team scrimmages and the team drills, which are always fun to watch. Something that the NFL Combine doesn't have, right? Then it's something that makes the CFL Combine unique. So I'm looking forward to getting over and watching some of that.
Yeah, that stuff's really cool. And just hearing you talk about being at the hotel and seeing Pinball and Dave Dickinson, all the CFL people around, reminds me of Grey Cup week a little bit when you're around all the different luncheons and different events. And we need more things like that in the league, like this in the off season and throughout the year, because when the stars and the people in the league come together, this league is so cool. The people are so cool, and it's a big deal. We have stars and star power in this league.
And I think more than anything, they're approachable too, right? If you could go down to the Westin Hotel and you go, "Hey, Pinball," he'll give you a big smile, shake your hand, give you an autograph, take a selfie, and talk football with you for a while. And that's what makes the CFL a little different, right? All their people are, I find anyway, so much more approachable than other pro athletes, and it's cool to see them all. And it doesn't happen very often in the off season that everybody gets together. I was talking with Ed Hervey about that earlier this week, and it's the GM meetings in January, this week, now that's kind of been put together for the Combine and the coaching dinner, and then Grey Cup. That's the only time really that the GMs are all in the same place and they can all talk and tell stories and, compare notes and all that. And it's just great conversation, and it's great to have a little bit of a buzz in the town about the CFL.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And buzz about the Elks. I want to get to them because it feels like, on the way back. You mentioned stability, which I really love to hear that word, led by Chris Morris and then down through the ranks and the roster. But it's Cody Fajardo's team now. You've added some weapons. Austin Mack is there. And starting to get some buzz. I mean, over at 3 Down, I'm reading about, them ranking the quarterback rooms, and they've got Edmonton ranked 5th, which is, a lot better than it has been in the last few years. Right, where things have not been so positive, and I'm watching, on CFL.ca about Edmonton. It feels like the sun is up, and it's a positive future in Edmonton.
Yeah, arrows up. That's the general feeling, and I think you saw that by the caliber of players they've been able to sign. Not just this year, I think even going back to last year in free agency, the caliber of players that they've been able to sign, and people are coming here with the belief that it's over. It's been a really tough, stretch here. Haven't made the playoffs since 2019. The name change caused some issues and still does to a certain extent. The home losing streak, missing the playoffs, the quarterback carousel that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. It's taken its toll, but everybody seems to think things are turning around right now, and they're going to be a better team this year. I kind of thought last year or the year before as well that they were going to improve, and they didn't. The key is going to be for them is getting out of the gate and getting a win. I mean, they haven't won in June since 2019, right? So that tells you. I think I figured it out. I can't remember the numbers. I think they're like 0-24 to start the last 4 or 5 seasons. So It's been painful, especially early. And, you know, if you're losing early and the Oilers are going to the Stanley Cup final for 2 years in a row, you really get pushed to the side, right? And that's something they want to avoid this year. If the Oilers get a run going in the playoffs, they want to be able to at least win some games to start the season, which they haven't done in a long time.
Especially when you're fighting for attention, ticket sales, shelf space for merchandise in sporting goods stores, all of that. So what's needed? We're talking combine draft. At CFL.ca, they're talking about position groups to watch for each team. For Edmonton, they suggest the offensive line still needs some work. And I'm interested because if I know Chris Morris, he knows offensive line. That was always the hallmark at the University of Alberta. Now, Chris isn't the general manager, but I'm sure he has some influence. And there's a couple of offensive linemen on the scouting bureau, and Logan Taylor at a Boston College, a Nova Scotia kid, and Albert Reese IV out of Mississippi State, who happens to be from Edmonton. Could there be a more perfect fit for Edmonton at number 3?
Yeah, absolutely not. And, you know, it depends on kind of the NFL aspirations. And that's a tough thing, right? In the CFL, GMs have to weigh that. I want to draft a good player, but it can't be too good because I want him to play for my team and not play in the NFL, right? So, you know, I think they'll look at O-linemen because you have to in the Canadian draft, obviously. But I think as far as the lineup for this year goes, they're set at the O-line after what they did in free agency, getting those 3 guys from the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Carter O'Donnell coming in halfway through last year. Man, he was so good. Early prediction with him as offensive lineman of the year this year. I just think that's how good he was last year. And over a full season, he'll be even better. I think they're going to have a veteran as their 6th guy this year. A guy who started last year might be their 6th guy this year. Ed Hervey said this week that they have cap space to do that if they want, and then they'll be ready if there's injuries or if they want to make a change. So if they draft for O-lineman this year, at this year's draft, they won't be for this year's team. It'll be for down the road because they're pretty locked in, I think, with the guys that they've signed. That's the one thing, you know, it's Ed Hervey's calling card, right? Protect the quarterback and get the quarterback. That's the 2 things he wants to do. And we saw this team last year. A really good O-line 2 years ago didn't have a very good year last year, and that's why Ed went out and made some changes on that O-line at free agency time.
Question coming in from the audience. Somebody says, good morning to Morley. What are your thoughts on the UFL starting this weekend? How about the COFL and any stories about Mike Kelly, their commissioner? What do you got there?
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to that. I was looking at my TV guide on my TV yesterday, and I thought, I was looking ahead, and there's a game tonight. There's a UFL game tonight on TV. And I'm thinking, oh, I wonder who's watching that because I know I'm not. It hasn't. I've tried when it first started. I've tried to watch it, but it just doesn't hold my interest because the you know, you don't know the players as well, and the game is just not what you want to see and what you're used to. And to be honest, Darren, I haven't watched one of, whether it be the XFL or the UFL or what was the other one, the AFF or whatever it was. I have not watched one game from start to finish, and I would say combined I haven't watched 60 minutes worth of football from those leagues. So
you know what, I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. You know, I haven't been paying attention, and now with a couple other projects I'm working on, one of them is actually helping to work with the production for AF1, which is the new Arena League now a couple of years in, which took over from the Arena Football League, which I remember growing up watching the Arena League would come on TV once in a while, but these other leagues have been off my radar for a good decade and a half or more. And here I'm watching some old highlights from the Arena Bowl a couple of years ago, and there's Isaac Harker, who's the quarterback in the Arena Bowl, who played in the CFL. So
did you see Justin Rankin in there anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't yet, but they are. And, you know, the other leagues don't catch my attention that much, but thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah, Arena League it's fun. Even if you don't know the players and don't know the situation, it's kind of like human pinball to a certain extent, right? It's a fun, fast game, and it's very physical. I remember when Manny Arsenault was here a couple of years ago, and he played a year in arena football before he came back to the CFL and played for Edmonton. And he told me he thought an Arena Football League season for a receiver was more physical than a CFL season. It took more of a toll on his body. Justin Rankin loves Arena Football. When he got cut 2 years ago at the end of training camp, he went right back and started playing arena football again. And then he got, re-signed and came back, and the rest is history now as he goes into this year as their number one running back. But he loves arena football, talks about it all the time. I did an interview with him, and he was saying that that's the only sport he really watches. I asked him, I was talking to him just before the Super Bowl, and he said, I probably won't watch the Super Bowl. I don't watch NFL stuff. And I go, what about the Olympics? And he goes, I don't watch that. I go, what do you watch? He says, arena football. That's all he watches is arena football. He just loves the game, and he excelled in the game as well, won a championship too. So it's got its niche, that's for sure, in those little small towns in the U.S. It'd be neat to see how it did if it came to Canada. I don't know if that's on the horizon or if it's going to happen or not, but it'd be neat to see if it would get some football in the off season for Canadian football fans.
It'd be really cool to see. I mean, that league starts up here right away. April 11th, they kick off. Curious. And to me, you mentioned, some of the Olympics, and it got me thinking about the flag game, because arena football mirrors that a little bit. Obviously, the contact, the board, some of the rules are different. They have a kicking game, all that kind of stuff. But the dimensions and the tight game and 8 versus 8 is more, flag football kind of similar. And it got me thinking about that USA versus the NFL guys, and Tom Brady looking pretty good. But they got smoked. The NFLers got smoked by the U.S. national team. It wasn't close. So it's got me thinking a little bit about the Olympics. How about you?
Yeah, but those NFLers, they're older and they never played the game, right? So they don't understand the nuances of it like the other guys do. I'm looking forward to watching that. It's still 2 years away, obviously. I loved hearing Paul LaPolice this week talk about how Nathan Rourke is committed to going and playing flag football in his preparation for possibly being on Canada's team. So I think that's great. I'm looking forward to it. It's such a different game, right? There's fewer players, which means there's fewer players to cover up when mistakes are made, right? So you get more points, more exciting plays. So I'll probably over the next year and a half pay a little bit more attention to it.
Yeah, and I'm already starting to pay attention to the game. But it is interesting, and it's great if Canadian Football League players can get in there. Look, we have less than 2 minutes left. I wanted to get a little bit on the Oilers here, not a lot, but a 4-3 win over Vegas last night. They're now 5 points up on the playoff spot, a 5-point cushion, 5 points back of Anaheim for first. Where are the Oilers? It doesn't seem like no Leon Draisaitl has been that big of a problem here.
Yeah, actually, Chris Knobloch talked about that the post game, saying how everybody has stepped up and they've kind of played a different style of hockey during that stretch, more defensive. The 2 wins on this road trip in Utah and then last night in Vegas, gutsy, real gritty, physical, shot blocking. They were doing all the things right that you have to do to win in the playoffs. And they weren't playoff games, but they felt like playoff games to a certain extent. And I think they're finding their game. They played pretty well, especially 5-on-5 against Tampa in their loss at home before they went on the road. So they put together 3 straight good games. They won 2 of them and lost 1. So I think everyone seems to believe that they're kind of turning the corner. And then in the first round, at some point, maybe they're going to add Leon Draisaitl, right? His comments in Germany lead you to believe, wonder if he'll be back or not for the first round. But he's going to be an addition to the lineup at some point. That's a pretty good ad, I think. Yeah. When you're in a playoff series. So I think that'll help. But I think they're playing pretty well right now. Connor Ingram's been solid in net. Jari came back and had a game and won for the first time in a while. So things are going well for them right now.
Good stuff. Morley, appreciate that.
And a big game tomorrow too. I mean, Anaheim's here tomorrow afternoon, right? And that's
a big one. Okay, we've lost Morley. We're going to take a break. Big appreciate him coming on. Back with more here on the RP Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs guide through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back to the RP show. Thanks to Morley Scott, and apologies for getting cut off there. The time restrictions, I guess, he gets the end of the segment. And I'm not a rookie in this chair, but I don't do this every day, so not super familiar with when those breaks happen. But all good, all good. Just you and me to the top of the hour. So to the YouTube comments, Tony from Cochrane says, arena football, flag football, UFL, no thanks. I'd rather watch the WFA, the Women's Football Alliance, if we could get it in Canada. Look, I want to talk about those other leagues for a second because, you know, I'm not super interested and haven't been following them. I really haven't. But now with the work that I'm doing on the production side, we're going to be working with AF1, which is the Arena Football League. And I'm getting more and more into it. How into it am I? I don't know yet. I'm going to watch it and see. I know, this new AF1 from the Arena Football League, AFL, is now AF1. It's new, and it's taken over. It was okay. Some of the production was okay last year, but now we've been brought in, and I've been brought in to help on the production side, and it's going to be great because I'm involved. No, it's not. It's going to be good. We're excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. AF1 starts April 11th. Albany, Minnesota, I believe, is the first game from Albany. The teams are in Michigan and Saginaw, Oceanside, Nashville. So there's some really big markets involved. We were in meetings with Jeff Fisher, the former NFL coach, and Jeff Jarrett, if you remember him, the wrestler with the guitar, involved in AF1 in some capacity. So there's some real buzz around AF1, which is actually really interesting. And I'm more interested in that than I am about the UFL, to be honest. So that's kind of fun. But look, it's the NFL and the CFL. And even after CFL, NFL, it's college. on both sides of the border for me before it's ever AF1. But AF1 is growing, and it's getting me interested. Games are going to stream online, so check out the AF1 website. And then I believe there's a TV partnership for one of the games. Yes, Jeff in Calgary says, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Remember when he smashed the guitar over Sue? Was it Sue? Who was it when he smashed the guitar over the female? That was wild. But Jeff Jarrett with the guitar. You know, I grew up always wanting to smash a guitar across my brother's back. Never did it. Never had a guitar I could do that to. I always wondered how fake it was until you see the wood splinters going all over the place when he smashed the guitar. Obviously, you don't do these things. You don't walk up to somebody and smash them with a guitar just because you saw it on TV. But I wanted to. I wanted to. Right across my brother's back sometime, you know? Anyways, that was fun. And again, so... Cut off for a second, Corey? I just saw my screen go black. Anyways, it's back now. So there we go. Jeff says it's amazing how different Darren and Rod are with the commenters. What are you trying to say, Jeff? Explain. We are different. We're different in a lot of ways with the commenters. What's the deal? I'm probably a lot nicer. No. Anyways. Kevin the Medium says, I miss you on the show, Moose. You need to be on more. Yeah, we need to catch up, Kev. We're overdue. I was supposed to call you, then you were supposed to call me. I'm off the air in 15 minutes, FYI. Okay, Oilers. Oilers are interesting. I wanted to talk about that. We come off the heels of that with Morley Scott and a little bit of NHL here before we come back. We're in the final minute and a half of this segment, and then we'll get into more in overtime next. But McDavid, a goal and 2 assists last night. Bouchard had the overtime winner. Evan Bouchard added an assist. Zach Hyman, Matt Savoy also scored for the Oilers. Mark Stone was good. A couple of goals for Vegas. Ivan Barbashev, a goal and an assist. And Aiden Hill made 25 saves. Connor Ingram got the win for the Oilers, 26 saves in overtime. As the Oilers and Golden Knights both have 9 games left. And for Vegas, trying to find some sort of consistency with Vegas. I really think this team, I don't think we look at Vegas right now and consider them a legitimate Stanley Cup threat. I think with the Oilers, Oiler fans will say, yeah, we're not winning the Cup this year. But I would say, hold on, you've got McDavid, and if Draisaitl comes back, you've got a shot. Think about it. We'll talk more after the break. We'll talk about the Jays opening day. We'll put a lid on everything, what's coming up this weekend, what you're going to be paying attention to, and more as we put the week to a close here on a Football Friday. The RP Show, Game Plus, YouTube, the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network in Las Vegas. Back after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Welcome back. Overtime here on the RP Show for Overtime Hockey Lanes. I'm Darren DuPont in for Rod Pedersen. Final segment of the show. So what is up with you? We were chatting about the CFL Combine today. We were chatting about opening day, Major League Baseball, opening week, opening weekend, the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Edmonton Oilers, as we are available across Canada, and as well the Silver State Sport and Entertainment Network in Las Vegas. Jays and A's tonight at 7 o'clock. So about 5 hours away, I believe, from first pitch, a little over 5 hours away. Kevin Gausman and Luis Severino set to take the mound as the Jays and A's open their season tonight in Toronto. Comments on the YouTube feed, squirrel moment, hashtag squirrel moment. Moose, how many RP shows were on Facebook before the show went on YouTube? A lot. We were on Facebook for a good year, 2, with a lot of shows on Facebook before we came to YouTube. And honestly, it's been great being on YouTube, but it was awesome being on Facebook too. We had a great start to this show, and it continues to be really great. It's changed a little bit. The show was streaming only at the beginning, and we had all of our audience watching on streaming, a lot on Facebook, and then we went to YouTube. We were on both for a bit, but now this show has gone linear and traditional with, the Game Plus television network in Canada and the US, and now the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We've had radio stations in Georgia pick up this show, and across Canada with different radio groups here. So we've had some different audience shift, and it's become less of a YouTube show and more of a TV show, which has been fun. But also, I kind of miss the old days. I kind of miss the old days when we were just on Facebook. That was a lot of fun. Any questions you have, fire them in right now. We can talk about the old days. We can talk about today. It doesn't really matter. April next week, CFL season is almost here. And stay tuned, because Rod's always good for the April Fool's joke, which, again, I was watching this segment on Good Morning Football, something I wanted to talk about. And it was Isaac Rochelle, the NFLer, was on. And the segment was called Rochelle No. What he means by that was Rochelle is hell no. Rochelle no. And he was talking about things that need to stop. Athletes need to stop doing. Rochelle, no, hell no, stop doing this, stop doing that. And one of them was for NFL players, cornerbacks, defensive backs, to stop celebrating passes that were way overthrown. Yeah, your receiver didn't catch it, but you had nothing to do with it. You're doing the seatbelt, you're doing the sword, you're, no way. So he was like, stop. So it got me thinking. He had a few others too. It got me thinking about what are my things that need to stop and need to change with that. And one of them definitely is athlete interviews. Love them or hate them, athletes need to stop running away from interviews before it's over and without saying thank you. How many times do we see that now in the player interview? Appreciate my time, and he's gone. He answers the last question and he pins and runs out of there. How about, hey, thanks for having me, and then leave? How about thank you, right? Athletes have stopped thanking the reporter for the time and for interviewing them. And maybe because I'm a reporter, but that's something that's stopped, and I miss it. I really do. There was one more I was thinking of just as we brought this up, the reason I even came to this segment, but hashtag squirrel moment, I have completely forgotten about it. So interesting. Jeff says, I love YouTube. I feel like I need to get my 2 cents in. Yeah, it is really great to have the comments. And I don't think, even with the traditional television and radio, comments are still really, really important. But anyways, that was the one that was really big for me, was say thank you after the interview's over. And you know who's doing that? Matthew Schaefer, sticking around. I even noticed at the World Juniors, the players have now, they get asked the last question, they give their answer, and they peel out of there before the reporter says, yep, as soon as they recognize it's over, they're gone. That's a pet peeve of mine. It really is. Okay, this weekend, just 2 games in the NHL tonight. On Saturday, though, Oilers and Ducks in Edmonton. That'll be a good one, as the Oilers sit 5 points back of Anaheim heading into the weekend. The Winnipeg Jets, I know you asked about it. They lost last night 3-2 to the Colorado Avalanche. And now for Winnipeg, they sit 5 points back of Nashville for the final playoff spot, that second wildcard spot. They have 1 game in hand. McKinnon had 2 goals last night. He's up to 48 goals on the season, by the way. The Jets will go to Colorado, take on the Avalanche tomorrow night, Saturday night. So a chance to get one back. But they're 5 points back, a game in hand. 9 games left. You got to make hay now. The Jets, they're in some trouble. They've got a chance, but they got to start rolling. What else is going on this weekend? March Madness continues. Iowa, Illinois, Arizona, and Purdue are into the Elite 8. Michigan and Alabama play tonight. That's the game I'll be interested in. Miami Open, a little tennis action. Jannik Sinner will play tonight. 2 semifinals on the men's side tonight, and the final on the women's side, Aryna Sabalenka and Coco Gauff. That's coming up tomorrow, the final in the Miami Open. And opening day for the Jays and A's tonight. I think that's pretty much got it. Floor is yours for the end of the show. Brian wants to know how my bracket is holding up. Look, let me take a look, and I'll pull this up. We got 1 minute left in the weekend to tell you who I have in there. I have Michigan winning the whole thing, so my bracket's okay. I had Arizona, Purdue going pretty far. I had Iowa State. I have Duke, who's still alive. I had University of Houston as well, and UConn as options. But my bracket's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. That's how it goes. Okay, that's going to do it for us. I appreciate you welcoming me in for the hour with Rod on the road to New York. He'll be back in the chair on Monday. And until then, I will say thank you to Morley Scott for joining us from Edmonton, the voice of the Elks. If you missed that, go back and watch it. It's available. But until then, thank you. You've been watching the RP Show on Game Plus, YouTube, and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Have a great weekend. See you next time.
Good.